We are Frank and Daphne, two not-so-young retirees from Canada who developed a love for cycle touring fairly late in life. In 2022, we decided to do a ride that would take us across Europe from the North Sea to the Adriatic. The route we planned started in Amsterdam, where we'd head west to dip our toes in the North Sea along the Netherlands coast, then follow the River Rhine upstream on EuroVelo 15 into Germany, a little bit of France and Switzerland, as far as Lake Constance. Here we'd leave the Rhine, switch to EuroVelo 6 and follow the River Danube from the Black Forest as far as the city of Passau in Germany. Then we'd leave the Danube and head in a southerly direction through Austria. This section is actually a little piece of EuroVelo 7. Then in Salzburg we'll pick up the popular Alps to Adriatic cycle trail, locally known as the Cyclovia Alp Adria Radweg, which will lead us through the Alps, across the border into Italy and down to the Adriatic coast at a little town called Grado, about 100 kilometers east of Venice. So we hope you'll come along with us on the ride and join our adventure and see how we get on as we share this journey over several episodes. It's a perfect day for the ducks here on the north shore of Lake Constance today. We're hanging out under our tarps with our friends Jenny and Gerald, sitting out a day of rain near the town of Radolfzell, getting ready to start the next stage of our ride tomorrow, hopefully in better weather. And it's the Whitsunday holiday weekend here in many parts of Europe. So tomorrow, Monday, is a public holiday. So the campground is full. We've never camped in such a busy tent area before. So far, Frank and I have ridden over 1,500 kilometers from Amsterdam and the North Sea up the River Rhine along EuroVelo 15. We've already left EuroVelo 15 and we'll be continuing on EuroVelo 6 with our friends to head north to join the Danube River. It's Monday morning and it's a holiday here in Europe, so we're expecting everything will be closed today. Everything's very quiet. It's 8:45 and we're on our way north to Tuttlingen, and we're expecting to have to climb some hills today. Climbing time. Had a major win here after climbing some hills. We passed through a private golf course and we think it's the only thing that's going to be open today, and they will serve us, mere cyclists. Well, that was the most pleasant coffee at the golf club amongst the cigar smoking golfers. We just left Tuttlingen, climbed a hill to get out of there. This has been a long, slow, steady climb. I'm hoping we're near the end of it. Look at these guys. I'm jealous. We had lots of hills to climb today as we crossed this watershed between the Rhine and Danube river valleys. And there was still more climbing after our scenic lunch stop, but the vistas from the high point were amazing. You could see right back down onto Lake Constance, and to the west, an area known as the Hegau, with its unusual landscape of extinct volcanic cones. Yes, we just came up that hill. And yeah, it's beautiful countryside, there's no doubt. I think we might be near the summit. Whew.
There it goes. A little bit.
That was challenging. Then after this it was lots of fun downhill into the town of Tuttlingen. Campground. Tuttlingen, here we come. Once in town, we were happy to find some cafes open on this holiday, and we treated ourselves to some beverages and crepes. And they had something on the menu I've never seen before: spaghetti desserts. Now how about that for combining carbo loading and sweet decadence? We then crossed the pretty covered bridge over the very infant Danube, heading to the campground, only to find that it was closed. This is Plan B. We did not expect this because Tuttlingen is a big town, and we thought for sure its campground would be open. Anyway, never a dull moment. We were heading out of town to where we believed there was another campground 10 kilometers away, but on the way we passed a youth camp where there were a couple of groups of scouts, and we got permission from some of the leaders there to camp for the night. That was pretty interesting, watching the game activities and the mealtime drill and the evening sing-songs. But it was a nice place to camp. The next morning, Frank and I bade farewell to Gerald and Jenny. They had some extra time to spend before meeting up with some other friends in a few days, and they were going to ride west back up to the source of the Danube in Donautal. But we needed to press on today towards Sigmaringen. So after breakfast in Tuttlingen, we headed east along the still baby Danube on what would turn out to be one of the prettiest sections of our whole tour. Between here and Sigmaringen, the river cuts through the narrow, twisting Donautal Gorge, through the forested limestone hills of the Swabian Alps. We're just a couple of kilometers out of Tuttlingen, and we have a great path here, as you can see. So we think we have some hills ahead. Hopefully the gradient won't be too bad. Now the topography has really changed. We are going through a fairly narrow gorge here with karst formations, karst cliffs. It looks really interesting. It's hard to believe this will eventually flow through Passau, Vienna and Budapest. It's a very young Danube River. And this is our lunch stop.
Straight cruising, headed for a bruising, watching out for number one. You gotta slow down and look around you, son. Today is just today and not tomorrow. Where you're going, rest your head. Where you're going, brightness looks big.
Rain is just starting now.
Truth cannot be hid.
But it's gorgeous here. Just so tranquil. There's lots of side paths through the forest.
Easy now. Be hard working so you can be deserving of the rest that you are given. You gotta slow down and look around you, son. Give a lot and live a little. Work with what you got. Where you're going, you can rest your head.
We've been loving this section of the route between Tuttlingen and, well, we haven't come to Buron yet, but we're in this gorge and the scenery is just so lovely. In spite of the rain, it's been a treat.
Get along, give a hand, sleep heavy, be the man. Just there where you are, do something, be the star. You gotta get going. Easy now, you gotta get going. Easy now.
I got my heartbeat up. And here comes Frank.
Oh.
And we're on the flat again for a bit. Biergarten. Whoa. Might not be open. So we timed this very well. We just got into this little Biergarten just as the rain started. This was a smart move. Well, we were just about to leave to continue our ride, but we've changed our mind for obvious reasons. Oh. We just had tea, dessert, coffee, beer. Missed one big downpour. And we've just booked an apartment near Sigmaringen, so going to have a little comfort tonight. Here is a campground, but we don't want one right now. I like this slug fountain, especially considering how many slugs we've been encountering. Ooh, that looks painful. The apartment we had booked was in a little place called Coffin, just before Sigmaringen. So after a quick stop at a grocery shop, we followed our navigation system out into the countryside south of town, and when the GPS announced, "You have arrived," we seemed to be in the middle of nowhere outside a golf and country club. Okay, well, this is funny, but we've found our apartment that we booked. It was a weird location and it's a golf club. It didn't exactly say that in the booking. We've arrived here and walked into the clubhouse and felt there was a private party on. We felt like fish out of water. But anyway, we found somebody who said, yes, there is an apartment, but it's not ready. He didn't see the booking, so... Anyway, we have to wait for half an hour. So it's all good. We have a place, we have an apartment. Here we are having a drink at a golf and country club where there are supposed to be apartments for rent. Well, there is, and we're just waiting till ours is ready. And in the meantime, there's a private party going on here with some lovely accordion music. Very nice surroundings. Well, if you've seen any of our previous episodes, you'll already know that it's become par for the course for there to be some drama when we're trying to find our accommodation. But this apartment turned out to be really nice when we eventually got in at about 8 p.m. and very reasonable too at about €90. And we had a great night, cooked up some Thai chicken, had a bottle of wine while looking out at the rain and listening to the frogs, and for a while, the music downstairs. It's a new day and the sun is shining this morning at Sigmaringen Golf and Country Club. And it's time to get back on the bikes onto EuroVelo 6 and head in the direction of Ulm. First point of interest, Schloss Sigmaringen, the town's very imposing castle that sits on top of a cliff overlooking the Danube. It started life as a medieval castle in the 1500s, although most of what we see today is from 17th and 19th century renovations. Shortly after leaving Sigmaringen, we'd left the narrow gorge behind and the landscape opened up to a wide agricultural valley, and we found ourselves on small country roads and paved field paths. By lunchtime we'd reached the quiet town of Mengen, where there was a market in progress, and we stopped there to have a hearty lunch. We haven't seen storks for a while. This is Radolfzell. I'm going to call Radolfzell the city of storks, as it has several pieces of artwork dedicated to these birds. And it's another charming medieval town, dating from 1247, with many half-timbered buildings dating from the 16th to 18th centuries. This is a hell of a hill. No trouble to him. Look at him go. Yeah, you got this. Way to go.
Good job.
We had the wind at our back for a good part of today and did 75 kilometres fairly easily. And then because we'd heard from that family of cyclists we met earlier that the campground at Munderkingen was closed, we booked ourselves into a lovely traditional hotel just a bit off the route, 5 kilometres north of Munderkingen, in the village of Kirchen. Yeah, we have a packing up process that we have to go through every time we stay in a hotel, because we usually unload all the panniers. So in the morning, here we are, getting them back on again, sunscreen on, yeah, all that stuff. We're just leaving our hotel and it was absolutely perfect, just a beautiful hotel. For 110 euros it was immaculate, and we had a really good breakfast here for 6.50. So we're off now. First town is Ehingen. Still on our way to Ehingen, 5 kilometres, but what a glorious day. Little cloud cover, wind at our backs. Today's section of EuroVelo 6 on the way to Ulm offers a choice of routes. You can stay along the course of the Danube or take an 8 kilometre longer side route to the north that follows the river Schmisch through a place called Blauburen, where there is supposed to be a spectacular blue water lagoon. We opted for the latter since we'd read that it was a more interesting route. And it certainly did become more interesting for us because we got a bit lost heading out of Ehingen and put on some extra hilly miles before getting back on track. We're on an alternative to the alternative route to Ulm today. Hell of a hill. We did see the location of a very significant cave at Geisenklosterl, where 40,000-year-old artifacts were unearthed that are some of the earliest examples of prehistoric art and musical instruments ever discovered. And in Blauburen, there is a prehistoric museum in which are housed some of these important artifacts found in this and other caves of the area. We cycled through the town of Blauburen, which is where the Blue Lagoon is, but we completely missed that. And then, somewhere after the town, we must have missed a sign for a turn-off as we got ourselves onto a really busy road with no shoulder, and that was not pleasant. Okay, that was a stressful half hour there. Being on that highway was horrible. And the motorists did not like us being there. Anyway, we are back on track. We're 10 kilometers from Ulm. It's really the only interesting thing we've seen on this detour. The river and the Schloss. As you can see, we are approaching Ulm. That's the tallest church spire in Europe. As we rolled into the Münsterplatz in Ulm, we met up once again with this lovely family. I forget, but I think they were from Austria. They started their adventure in Tuttlingen and plan to see just how far they get by Tuesday, another 5 days from now. And they have a great big highlight planned for tomorrow to visit Legoland, which isn't too far east of Ulm, near the village of Liepheim.
And you are fastest man on the road.
This great Gothic cathedral is taller than Cologne Cathedral, and amazingly, when the rest of Ulm was reduced to rubble by Allied bombers in 1944, the church survived almost undamaged. And a stone's throw away is the historic town hall with its lavishly painted facade. The Danube has grown since we saw her last. We'll be heading in the direction of Günzburg, but only going as far as Liepheim, which is about another 20 kilometers. We have a hotel booked there, which we just decided while having coffee earlier this afternoon before we got to Ulm. We're now in the state of Bavaria, the border with Baden-Württemberg, where we've been for the past 2 weeks, was just after Ulm. It was 7:20 p.m. when we crossed the river to enter the little town of Liepheim. So pretty soon we should be settled into our hotel. You would think. We are on another crazy hunt for an apartment. Navigation is taking us all over the place. I don't know where we are. Well, of course it wasn't that simple. The hotel turned out to be in a newer industrial park on the town outskirts, And rather than taking us on the normal street access to the hotel, the GPS was taking us on a strange route using an overgrown double track at the back of the hotel to an unused approach road into the hotel grounds. So of course we thought we'd ended up in the wrong place because we didn't even see the hotel at first. We eventually figured it out. And so we're coming into the hotel some back way. Oh my God. However, we had yet another challenge to overcome. Once at the hotel, we discovered that it did not have a reception and there were no staff on site. We needed a PIN code to gain entry to our room, which had not been provided or mentioned in the confirmation email we'd received earlier this afternoon. So we phoned the help number posted on the wall. But after a long recorded message in German, we learned that the office is closed after 6 p.m. So after some time and with the help of another guest, we were able to use the hotel Wi-Fi and figure out that a cumbersome set of forms, which were in German only, needed to be completed and submitted online, along with images of our passports. Only then would a code be issued. It was 9 p.m. when we finally got that code emailed to us. So after a hell of a frustrating time trying to get into this hotel, we did in the end. And we're cooking up we have a nice dinner of stroganoff and noodles and some nice salad.
Beer.
And beer.
And some leftover wine.
Once again, the apartment was perfect when we finally got in. And the upside was that this was a great deal at €53. The fake road that isn't really a road. They must have good intentions for it. Most of our days on this tour so far would get at least a 7 out of 10. But today we gave a 2. And by the way, that detour between Ehingen and Ulm, we don't really recommend it unless you're seriously into anthropology and you want to visit the cave and museum in Blaubeuren. We've certainly had many excellent days on this tour so far, with over 1,800 kilometers clocked up so far. And we're excited to share the next leg of our Bavarian journey as we head towards Passau and the Austrian border via Ingolstadt and Regensburg. You won't believe where we get to camp tomorrow. I'll give you a hint. It's got a lot to do with beer. See you in episode 6.